SJPONeill next, who will be hearing Simon O'Neill, I see. Kia ora, Simon. Welcome to the Justice Subcommittee. We've got you for 5 minutes to speak on the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill. So I'll hand straight over to you. Kia ora.
Hey, thank you, Duncan. Thank you for this privilege. Unfortunately, today I'm going to read out because I find talking about this just gets me really wound out. So I've written down what I'd like to say so I don't get too emotive. This isn't supplements my written submission, but just to be absolutely clear, I am 100% against this proposed legislation. It's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. I think the bill exists solely as a sop to a minority party and as a trade-off for the governance of our country. I think it's a moral and ethical failure. I've spent a lot of time in industrial relations and international relations and defence, and I see it maybe from a slightly different perspective, but I think this bill has been specifically designed to do three things, none of which I think are any good. It's designed to divide, because when a people's divided, it's easy to knock them over. And when we're divided, we're distracted. And distraction is the second objective of this bill. It's a distraction, just like the flag debate a decade or so ago, from some other bits of legislation that are pretty heinous that are being shoved through under the smokescreen. And lastly, it's designed to fix something that's not broken. And as anybody who's a wannabe DIYer knows, when you fix something that's not broken, you don't end up with something that's still not broken. You end up with something that never quite runs the same again. And half the time you end up with a little bag of bits you don't know what to do with. I think that's the thing. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I've got a shed full of stuff where I've learnt that lesson. We signed the treaty in 1840. And unfortunately, the next 150 years, it kind of languished. In 1975, the government got serious about the treaty, established the tribunal, and then we codified the principles of partnership, participation, and protection in 1987. Now, I'm a late comer to this. A couple of decades ago, I probably would be talking on the other side of this legislation. But even I had heard of the principles way back then. And since then, we've never really felt or seen a need to establish the principles any further. They're accepted. And over the same period, we've established those principles more and more in our daily life through our Aotearoa, not just when we're doing legal stuff or doing stuff at work where it says we have to consider the principles. We consider it in our day-to-day life. They're good ideas. They're good principles. And I think New Zealand's a better place for that. These principles are now embedded in our culture, and we don't need a law to make that any more solid. When Jacinda Ardern in 2020 suggested we all be kind to each other, she didn't have to pass a law to make us be kind to each other. Although, if we're honest about it, after October 2020, she probably could have if she wanted to. And just as we don't need a law to make us kind, we don't need a law to make us apply principles that multiple generations have already adopted. This whole thing just makes me so angry. Just having another look through just before through the actual draft text, I mean, it doesn't even make a pretense of mentioning those principles. It's so blatant. I mean, I'd be offended if one of my students put that in front of me and we go away. It overwrites the treaty and further, if it's possible, further disenfranchises Maori from their own damn country. And it overwrites the rights that we've already accepted for Maori as the established Indigenous peoples of Aotearoa before we came along and screwed it up for everybody. I'm sorry, I don't think we've made New Zealand better since we arrived. We've made it more like England, which is definitely not better. And the blatant malice of the bill just makes me sad and it makes me angry. I'm good at being angry. I don't like being sad. It's not me. But I work in healthcare in Te Kuiti, little town, very vulnerable communities, and every day I see the harm where someone forgets or maybe deliberately disregards those treaties, the partnership, the participation, the protection, and that hurts people. And that
Simon, I'm just going to interrupt and let you know you've got about 20 seconds to just It's a
I've got 20
completing
seconds
period.
of word list. So we don't need to empower those people who don't want to apply the principles. The treaty's not broken. It doesn't need fixing. What we need to do is get on and fix what's really broken. Thank you.
Kia ora, Simon. Naomi, thank you for your submission and thank you for your written submission as well. Kia ora.
Thank you, Duncan.
Kia ora, Simon. Thank you.
Members, our next